You walk in the door and you already know something happened. Maybe it is the couch cushion on the floor. Maybe it is the bin tipped over. Maybe it is something you have not even spotted yet, but your dog has already found you. Low ears pinned back, eyes wide and soft and doing that thing, that specific, unmistakable thing. And every part of you reads it the same way. They know exactly what they did. They feel terrible. Look at them. They are practically apologising. Except they are not. And understanding why they aren't will change everything you thought you knew about your dog. What is actually happening in that moment is something completely different from guilt. Something your dog's brain is doing for a reason that has nothing to do with the couch, nothing to do with what happened while you were gone, and nothing to do with remorse. And once you understand what it actually is, you will never see that face the same way again. And more importantly, you will understand something profound about your dog that most owners never do. One, why the illusion is so convincing. Before we get to the science, let's be clear about something. If you have looked at that face and thought, my dog knows exactly what they did, you are not wrong for thinking it. You are not a bad observer. You are not projecting. That face is genuinely extraordinarily convincing. A study published in the journal Anthrozo found that 74% of dog owners believe their dog understands when they've done something wrong. And it is not hard to understand why. The timing feels perfect. The face appears the moment you walk in. The posture is textbook contrition. It looks like guilt because it has all the visual features our brain associates with guilt. We have been sharing videos of this face for as long as the internet has existed. Guilty dog compilations have hundreds of millions of views. The idea that dogs feel guilt is not a fringe belief. It is one of the most widely held assumptions about dogs in the world. The problem is not that you believed it. The problem is that nobody ever showed you the experiment that proved it wrong until now. 2. The experiment that changes everything. 4. In 2009, cognitive scientist Alexandra Horowitz at Columbia University, who has spent her career studying dog cognition, designed a deceptively simple test. She brought dogs and their owners into her lab. She told owners that while they were out of the room, their dog had eaten a forbidden treat they had been told to leave alone. Then she watched what happened when the owners returned. Here is the part that stops people completely. Some dogs had actually eaten the treat, some had not. Horowitz had told some owners their dog had eaten it when they actually had not, and told others their dog had been good when they had actually disobeyed. It did not matter. Dogs looked equally guilty whether they had eaten the treat or not. An innocent dog sitting next to an untouched treat greeted an owner who had been told they misbehaved and produced a full convincing guilty display. The face was not connected to what the dog had done. It was connected to what the owner was projecting walking through the door. And here is the detail that makes it even more striking. The guilty display intensified the more visibly annoyed the owner appeared. The angrier the entrance, the more dramatic the appeasement. Not because the dog knew what they had done, but because they were reading the threat level in the room and responding to it in real time. Let that sit for a moment. A dog who had done nothing wrong, sitting beside an untouched treat, looking completely guilty because their owner walked in expecting to be angry. That is not guilt. That is something else entirely. 3. What is actually happening inside your dog? The face your dog makes has a name in behavioural science. It is called an appeasement display, and it is one of the most ancient social behaviours in the canine repertoire. Appeasement behaviour evolved in pack animals as a way to de-escalate conflict. When a higher-ranking member of the group showed signs of aggression or displeasure, lower-ranking members would display submission. Lowered posture, averted eyes, flattened ears, exposed neck to signal, I am not a threat. Please do not hurt me. Your dog is doing this with you. Not because they remember chewing the sofa 3 hours ago, but because they have read your entrance, your posture, your pace, your facial expression. The cortisol shift in your body chemistry that their nose picks up before you have even spoken. And they have already identified that you are not okay, and their ancient wiring has responded the only way it knows how. Now, here is the part that makes this truly make sense. For your dog to actually feel guilt, they would need something called episodic memory. The ability to mentally travel backwards in time, Locate a specific past action, connect it to a moral framework, and generate an emotional response in the present based on that evaluation. That is an extraordinarily complex cognitive process. And the current scientific consensus is that dogs do not have it. Not because they are not intelligent, they are remarkably intelligent in ways that continue to surprise researchers, but their intelligence is built for the present moment. For reading what is in front of them right now with stunning precision. Your dog is not thinking about the couch. Your dog is thinking about you right now in this room and what you are about to do. 4. What this means for your dog's life. Here is where this stops being just an interesting science fact and becomes something that genuinely matters for your dog. If your dog does not connect your reaction to what they did, and they do not because that window closes within seconds of the behaviour occurring, then what is your dog actually learning when you come home to a mess and respond with anger? They are not learning that chewing is wrong. They are learning that your arrival is unpredictable, that sometimes the door opens and something frightening happens, that the safest response when they see your face shift is to make themselves as small and unthreatening as possible and hope it passes. This is why so many owners say the exact same thing. He knows he did wrong, but keeps doing it anyway. He feels terrible every time, but never changes. He does not know. He's not connecting your mood to his afternoon behaviour. He is responding to the version of you standing in front of him right now and doing the only thing his biology knows to do when that version of you appears. And this matters because dogs who live in a cycle of unpredictable punishment, the consequence that arrives without context, anger that appears without a behavioural anchor, develop a baseline level of anxiety around their owner's homecoming. Every entrance becomes something to scan for threat. Every shift in your mood becomes something to monitor and respond to. That is not a character flaw in your dog. That is a reasonable response to a pattern they cannot decode any other way. This is not about blame. Every owner who has ever scolded a dog after the fact was doing what felt logical, what felt obvious, because nobody ever explained how the dog's brain actually processes time, consequence, and cause and effect. Now you know, and that changes what you can do next. 5. The science here is clean and consistent, and the practical application is simpler than most people expect. First, the 2C window. Researchers studying how dogs form behavioural associations have consistently found that the neurological window for connecting a consequence to an action closes within approximately 2 seconds of the behaviour ending. Beyond that point, the dog cannot make the connection regardless of how clear you try to make it. If you were not in the room when it happened, that window is gone. What you do in that moment cannot teach them anything about the behaviour. It can only teach them something about you. Second, your entrance is a training tool because your dog is reading you the moment you walk in. A calm, neutral entrance does more for your dog's overall anxiety level than almost any other single thing you can do. Not passive, not permissive, calm, steady. The kind of entrance that tells your dog's nervous system, the person I am bonded to is okay. I am okay. This is a safe moment. That is not weakness. That is understanding how the animal in front of you actually processes information. Third, address the root, not the aftermath. If your dog is destructive when alone, the behaviour is being driven by something. Boredom, separation, anxiety, excess energy, understimulation. Scolding the aftermath of that behaviour touches none of its causes, understanding the cause and responding to it directly. More exercise, environmental enrichment, gradual alone time training actually does. Your dog is not trying to punish you by chewing the couch. They are a social animal, managing the stress of isolation in the only way available to them. Work with that, not against it. So the next time you walk in and your dog is already doing the thing, head low, eyes wide, making themselves small, understand what you are actually looking at. Not a confession, not remorse, not a dog who knows exactly what they did and feels terrible about it. You are looking at an animal whose entire attention is fixed on you, who read the room in the first second you walk through the door, who is doing the only thing their ancient, devoted, extraordinarily perceptive biology knows how to do when the person they are bonded to appears to be in distress. They are not saying, I am sorry for what I did. They are saying, please be okay. Please don't be angry. I need you to be okay. That is not guilt. That is love expressed in the only language they